Hey everyone, Jeff Campbell here from Middle Class Dad over at newmiddleclassdad.com. And today we're talking about parenting styles examples. And we're going to look at all 7 of the major parenting styles that are out there, and we're going to talk about the worst ones. So let's start off by naming what these 7 parenting styles are. Of course, there may be more out there. You may have some different ideas, but I think all of the primary parenting styles that are out there generally fall into one of these 7 categories. There's the authoritative parenting style. There's high expectations with this. They're consistent, they're fair, but there is a fair amount of flexibility. It can foster creativity and independence and accountability, but sometimes the flexibility with rules could create some confusion for the child. Next is the authoritarian parent. You know this parent. They're top-down, dictatorial. Think of a general in the army in the parodies that you see on television. It's a top-down, command and control style of parenting. It's an easy way to garner blind obedience, but it can really damage self-esteem, and essentially it replaces love with fear. The next style of parenting is attachment parenting. This focuses on providing kids with not just the basic necessities, but also some instinctual physical contact. Often this starts with the mother with breastfeeding, but it can include the father too. Co-sleeping is going to be a natural side effect of attachment parenting. And it goes without saying that breastfeeding is an important part of attachment parenting. The only possible downside of this would be that for the child to maybe become overly dependent upon the mother and to feel a little bit of insecurity when away from the mother. Coincidentally, this is the parenting style that my wife and I practice, although we do blend in a little bit of some of the other styles. The next style I want to talk about is the permissive or indulgent parenting style. This person doesn't really want to parent. They want to be a friend to the child, and they don't understand that important distinction. They often will put aside rules and boundaries and age appropriateness, all for the sake of being able to say yes instead of actually being a parent. Of course, the child is going to see them as the cool parent, but what this is going to lead to is a clear lack of boundaries and consequences for poor choices. It can lead to irresponsible behavior as they get older and a high sense of entitlement. The next parenting style I want to talk about is the uninvolved or neglectful parent. This person never really wanted to be a parent, and they didn't change their behavior when they became a parent. They still put their own needs and wants ahead of the needs and wants of the child. So this can really lead to a child's self-esteem being damaged. It can lead to substance abuse later in life. The only possible upside of this is the child does learn to become more self-sufficient at a younger age. But this is one of the worst parenting styles out there. The next style I want to talk about is conscious parenting. This has been a current buzzword, and you hear it a lot, and there's a hilarious video by J.P. Sears where he talks about conscious parenting. Think of this as kind of the Montessori approach to parenting. It's going to be very holistic, nurturing, and empowering. You're not going to have a lot of rules, but you're going to have some values that the child operates under. It can be very, like I said, nurturing and empowering, and very flexible and very loving and open. But sometimes it can lead to a sort of a lack of accountability. And when the child gets out there in the real world and they're expected to perform at certain levels and they're compared to others, it can be a very confusing time for the child. So that's one of the downsides of conscious parenting. Also, sometimes you see the conscious parent also fall into the permissive and indulgent parenting style, where they really just want to be more of a friend rather than be the person who sets the boundaries. The last style is helicopter parenting. And you know these parents. They hover over their children, never letting them out of their sight. They're driven by an innate fear of something bad happening to the child. Usually this is driven by the parent's own insecurities and fears and low self-esteem. And the only possible upside of this style is that it could actually prevent some injuries. But the real downside is that you're not preparing kids for the real world. You've got to let kids scuff up their knees and fall down on the playground and get their feelings hurt, because this is going to develop their character in ways that you just can't if you're helicoptering all around them. You've got to let kids be kids so that they can grow up and live in the world that we live in, the real world. So those are the main 7 parenting styles out there that I identify. Of course, you may have others, and there may be some that are a blend of those things, but those are the primary ones. And what are the worst ones? In my opinion, it's the authoritarian for sure, the top-down command and control style. The neglectful one, where the parent isn't really wanting to be a parent. They're still partying and doing drugs and not really paying that much attention to the child. And then there's the one where they're just permissive and indulgent. They just want to be the kid's friend, and they don't really want to have to lay down the law and be the heavy. Those three are the most damaging parenting styles out there. And I'm of the opinion, not to quote Whitney Houston, but kids are the future. They are literally the world. They are the hope for the future and our hope for society. And how we parent kids today is going to determine the kind of world that we live in tomorrow. And so if you've made the choice to become a parent, or you're thinking about becoming a parent, this is the most important choice you're ever going to make. And it's not to say we don't make mistakes. We make mistakes all the time. But when we make a mistake, it's important that we learn from that mistake. It's important that we don't repeat it. And it's important that we be honest with our kids about it. Nothing is worse than kids seeing a parent who's pretended like they didn't make a mistake when the kids know well that they have. They can smell a hypocrite a mile away. But just by watching this video and thinking about parenting styles, that tells me that you're a great parent, because you're taking the time to invest in figuring out how to be a better one. And that's all that we can really ask for. Thanks for being here.